need to respond.
Yeah. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paula's Soapbox Live. I'm here with the multi-talented Paula Rhodes. She's back to the show again, thankfully. So excited to have her back. You know her, of course. Yeah, you know her, of course, from the New Adventures of Peter and Wendy, the award-winning web series. She's also done a ton of voiceover work for video games and series like Barbie, Life in the Dream House, and the Monster High franchise. You probably have seen her popping up on your television a lot through all the numerous spots that she's been featured in. Yeah, she's a founding member of the 5'2" and Under Club, so that's awesome. I'm also a member, so we have two Paulas in there that are under 5'2".
I know, right? We're specific.
We're
in the
very
Venn diagram
specific.
for all sorts of things. We've got a lot of overlaps.
Yeah. Well, she's here today to talk about her new film, Delicate State. So I'm pleased to welcome back to the show actress, writer, producer, and director, Paula Rhodes.
A lot of hats. Thank you for having
me. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you again.
Me too.
So I don't know that we've talked a lot about your voiceover work. And I didn't realize this, the voiceover work that you've done with video games, apparently you don't always know what video game you're voicing until right before the release.
Yeah, it might have changed just recently in the contracts, but prior to just a year or so ago, it was always a mystery. Like you would record something, and then a year, 2 years later, you would get the email or call from your agent that, hey, your game's out, and you'd have to ask, what game was it? And kind of get surprised that way. Now, usually we get more of a heads up.
Okay.
Just to make sure that you gel with the franchise and there's no issues there, as well as to, I don't know, let you into the vibe of that universe to really, as an actor, it's terribly helpful.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's copacetic there. But it's
so how would that work, though? Like, if you didn't know what game you were voicing?
For example, with let's see, for Grand Theft Auto 5, I would go in, and I didn't exactly know what I'd been cast as either. But they would bring up random characters, and you'd see the timing, and they'd give you the dialogue for what that person said, and you would give them a couple options, and pepper in the universe that way.
Yeah.
For Red Dead, it was before the animation, so we had helmets and cameras there capturing lip movements and such. And you would just kind of out of context say a whole bunch of possible responses.
Yeah.
And then they'd plop them in as needed according to the game, what the player was interacting with your character.
So would they direct you, like if your voice wasn't exactly what they wanted you to do, would they direct you and kind of push you in another direction? Or
yes. And for the most part, I mean, when you're just doing like atmospheric characters, you can't go too wrong. I mean, they might be like, she's a cranky factory worker.
Yeah.
Serving street urchin. She's a whore.
Yeah.
And you're kind of you get a little bit of playroom. But it is a different experience for the directors, because they do have to be much more involved as far as what the tone is and being able to direct people without totally giving it away.
Yeah.
Or at least they used to be. And I'm sure you probably got more of a say, or more of a clue in when you were a title character or a playable character. For Resident Evil 7, I figured it out pretty early. They kind of gave us enough of a hint so we knew what the world was and, what the vibe was. And we're able to put together enough with the direction to really kind of get us there. But yeah, it's a unique skill set for directors, so you can direct video games.
Yeah. Well, it must be a fun thing to do too, and it probably helps you kind of stretch as an actor.
It's a lot of imagination. I mean, you're either in a black box or you're in a motion capture studio, and it's totally being a kid again. I mean, when you're on a set, it's a different type of magic. It's interacting with the beautiful costumes and props and sets that they built, so you really are put in it. Versus for just voiceover, you're putting all of that in your mind. And yes, you might be pushing against a PVC pipe, but you're going to pretend it's a really heavy door. Like, it's extra muscles I suppose, in the imagination center of the brain, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, so being capable of doing so many voices, and you mentioned it's childlike, and you have 2 kids now. I think you had one the last time we talked, and now you have another.
They just keep going up. It's weird.
Yeah. How is that happening?
I don't know. That's another show.
Another show.
I got 2 boys, and they are kind of the impetus for this film in a way, in that as I started to, as I was pregnant and getting bigger, and realizing that there were going to be fewer and fewer auditions as I was unable to hide the pregnancy, I went into artist panic mode, and you really, as a woman, start to realize the unique vulnerability you have, both economically and physically, when you're pregnant. And I couldn't handle that creatively. So we came up with a solution of, well, why don't we make a movie? Which gave me some of the control and kept my creative sanity during the process. So we filmed this around and about our pregnancy. And the surprise second pregnancy allowed for some fun pickups. Pickup shots that I didn't even know we needed, but we needed.
Yeah.
And much could be said similarly for my second son. He's pretty amazing. But it was a unique beast. We didn't have a set in stone script. We had an outline that we kind of had to keep evolving as surprises in pregnancy came up, as well as surprises in the outside world, which we were documenting came up. So this is a docu-fiction in the sense that it's us documenting the pregnancy, Paula and Charlie, but it's also an alternate timeline, which I hope stays alternate, in which the United States breaks out in civil war. And that kind of came to me, and that I kept seeing in social media and in the mainstream media, people kind of tossing around this idea of like, oh, well, we're so divided. We're leading toward the second civil war. If this happens, it'll be civil war. And it struck me as so irresponsible and terrifying that people weren't really taking to heart all that would mean, and seemed to be almost egging it on. So I thought maybe the world needed a mother to tell them or show them what that would actually entail.
Social media is really good at creating chaos and amplifying chaos, and
isn't it though? Yeah. So this is my attempt at holding a mirror up, I guess, for all of us there.
Yeah.
It went wonderfully. We self-financed through filming and through editing, and we won a really generous grant from the Chimera Project, which supports female filmmakers, and it's I'm so excited. And now we have a campaign going to get some of the rest of our finishing funds to get her here to help deliver this film baby of mine. And we're doing great. We're already over 40% in the first.
I noticed that I pulled up the website, and it's at 42%. And you just watched it a few days ago, so that's really good.
Stepping along, and we did it on Seed and Spark because they have some great distribution options, as well as they're great at supporting filmmakers. And that even if you can't, if some of your friends or your village can't donate monetarily, they're able to follow, and just the number of followers you have increases the opportunities open to you as far as distribution and otherwise. So hey, even if people don't have extra coins to toss our way, by all means, we super appreciate the follows.
Okay, yeah. So you click on follow on the page.
You do. It's just to the right of the video.
You can do it through Facebook. I did it last night, so you can do that. And actually, you have a Twitter account, which that's not going to do a whole lot except for raise awareness, but it's something. If you can't donate, you can certainly spread the word that way. So did you have the idea for this movie kind of mulling around in your head, or was it more like you were trying to come up with something to write about?
Everything moved pretty quickly. I guess it must have kind of been percolating, and when the stars aligned and we kind of finally realized, like, let's get a camera, let's make a movie. This was what came out, I guess. And looking at what we could do with what we had, which was essentially like, okay, well, we have the two of us. Yeah. And we have our home, and we have
one of us is pregnant.
So we kind of ran with what you have. And as so often happens in filmmaking, when you do that, you can really end up with some magic.
Yeah.
Telling the story and folding in just a little bit of fantasy, I suppose, which is a genre that I personally love, in that it
Well,
lets
yes,
you
yes.
explore. Yeah, I love that it lets you explore these like sometimes really difficult things to have conversations about if you just were talking about them openly. But
Yeah.
when you present it through fantasy, it's accessible and it's safe to think about, and it really gets to people's hearts. It allows you to change hearts and minds.
Yeah, and it's not like a preachy kind of a thing. You're just like you said, you're kind of holding up a mirror and just kind of letting people see that and
take a cautionary tale.
yeah. So I know that you and Charlie are your names are the same and everything in the film. Are you playing yourselves, or are you playing like fictionalized versions of yourselves?
A little of both. There's a lot of us in each of them. We have Charlie, instead of being actors, because so boring. You don't want to see a bunch of actors being themselves. We have our professions a little different. I'm a children's book author, which I actually am working on some children's books. So I just folded multiple books in. And then Charlie, Charlie is a numismatist or a coin collector. I know, nerd alert.
Yeah.
And so he has a coin shop in the movie, and which we tied into some of our perks, and that you actually can get like a Civil War chime, which is a 3-cent piece from the Civil War. And you can
from Charlie's own personal collection.
Yeah. And we also have the ability to, like, if you have a coin collection, he can help you evaluate it, which is one of his special skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, we tried to fold in all the different communities that we have access to and our own personal interests. So there is a lot of us, and there's a lot of the fears that we were experiencing looking at parenthood folded in there too. Like sometimes something would just happen. Like there's a scene where I'm absolutely bawling, and Charlie comes to figure out why, although he thinks it's kind of funny, but he's got the camera and he's trying to figure out why, and you realize I'm trying to decide on a baby car seat, and it's just overwhelming, and there's too many, and hormones and blah. And so when we had that real life moment, we were like, oh, well, that's actually hilarious. Like I was absolutely just completely crushed and devastated and overwhelmed over something so stupid. I mean, they're important, but the fact that So every now and then we'd get inspired by something like that. Or other times we'd have like a big fire or explosion near our house, and we would kind of ambulance chase and go get some production value and footage of that. Or people coming to town and closing off streets, and we'd film that. We really were flexible and rolled with what was falling into our laps and what we experienced in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes that's the best way to create something. You know, you take inspiration from what's already happening around you. So
definitely. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in pregnancy that you just aren't able to control. And we've experienced with my sister having a complication called placenta previa.
Yeah.
Which is where it happened 100 years ago. It was just a death sentence, but it would be where the placenta forms over the exit, as it were. So bad news for all involved. You wouldn't really know until birth, right? And then you can come out and you're done. And so we, having lived that with her, we're like, well, what if that would happen during a war where you don't have access to healthcare? Like, women face this all over the world every day, and it's not something that's in our consciousness or seemed real here when we're just on our Pinterest pages picking perfect nurseries, but it could be, and it has been before. So we leaned into those possibilities.
Yeah. Well, you were pregnant with your first son. I think his name is Lincoln.
It is.
Yeah. During this filming, and your boys are still doing some acting, right?
Yes. In one of the pickup shots, we realized we were needing in the final edit. We are coming into a clinic and we needed to people it more. And we're like, well, there would be people of all ages kind of finding refuge here. And we have 2 ages over here. So we lost them into a shot. But yeah, they both got some of their first IMDb credits. Via Mom's movie.
But they're still doing acting. You're still taking them to auditions and stuff, correct?
Some, yeah. Lincoln loves it. Elliot doesn't. So we don't really take him as much because no one needs to mess with that. He's more of that. No, kid. loves books, and hey, if you want to go into something that's not acting, that's stable, baby, I will support you.
He'll be the
Yeah,
outcast of the family. Everybody else is an actor, and he's going to be the different one.
Yeah, please. Great. We need those. And but he loves it, so we do take him, and he's done a number of commercials. I think he's stolen one from us.
Oh,
yeah. When you show up and they're like, "Oh, the kid's great. Can we cast him?" And you're like,
"Yeah,
sure."
Yeah. They must love mom's voices during story time.
Sometimes they love story time, but on occasion, if they hear me doing a voiceover like Gremlins or something, I've been told, "Mom, stop! No more of that. Don't do funny sounds." And I'm like,
yeah,
great. So yes. And
yes and no. Depends on the mood. I get that.
On occasion, if I'm just desperately trying to get them to sleep so I can go record, I've done the I'll knock on the wall and you can hear me. I'm right there.
Right.
Hopefully I can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Just be really quiet.
But it's a weird life, but it's wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it.
Well, you and Charlie have been doing pretty good lately with, you're picking up a lot of commercial work. I see you on TV all the time. He is on TV all the time. He does a lot of guest work, he pops up on a lot of different series. I think he was just on All Rise recently. So yeah, you guys seem to be doing pretty good with that.
It's funny in that we were editing our reels recently and we're like, all of my stuff are really bitchy ladies. And really douchey guys should be the worst. He's done a recur on Good Trouble where he was, not your favorite boss, and a couple other things. You're just like, wow, there's so many things here, babe, where you're just a grade A jerk. We hope it's not who we really are.
Right. Yeah. Well, do you find yourself gravitating more toward mom type roles now that you are a mother?
Commercially, I think that's probably where they end up tossing me. Commercials are so short; they just need to be able to identify what you are right away and fit you into a category, right? And in that sense, yes, I am a mom, and I fit quite well in that little niche right now. So I don't mind. Theatrically, it varies pretty wildly, which is great too. I was just on a veil for one that was like a Slavic mob recruiter sort of thing, which was random and fun.
That is
random. To break out some more accents, but it's the whole gauntlet, which I guess is part of the magic of it, is getting to be different people.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to Delicate State for a minute. I wanted to run something past you with the crowdfunding. What exactly are you hoping to accomplish with this crowdfunding for the post-production? What will that money do?
So currently we have our VFX about 90% covered with the channel. This will allow, assuming that we get it all, our goal reached. And Seed and Spark is unique in that it's not Kickstarter or Indiegogo, in that you don't get none of the money if you don't reach your goal, but you don't get any money unless you get 80%. So that's the green light mark. So if I get 80%.
And you're at 42 right now.
Yes. So the goal is to get the funds to cover that last VFX shot. Yay. Yeah. Beyond that, the next step up would be doing the online editing, which is where you cut the working edit that you've worked on into the 4K high res edit with the raw footage you shot. So then it's a nice, as high as possible with the VFX shots in it version of itself. Yeah. And then after that, you do color correction, color grading to really make it pop, blend everything together, and make the world cohesive, I guess. And so that would be the visual end of the film. And that's the amount that I'm initially shooting for on Seed and Spark, which would be so wonderful to have. A dream goal, stretch goal, of course, would be to get the next little batch, which would cover sound design and essentially get our film in the can, as it were. Yeah. And then, beyond that, you got marketing and actress fees and things, which would love to get. But if I don't get them in this goal, I have, as long as we can get the visual part done, you're also building your numbers, essentially, which you can then take to companies later and pitch as investors with this proven, audience that you've built in that are coming along for the ride, as well as, the grants you've won and things. So it's all part of the business package you're kind of putting together for a film. Getting people invested and excited about it before it's even, out. Just like studios do. It's just I don't have a whole team of employees working for me. It's just me. Doing it all. So yes, it's that dual purpose of audience building and hopefully just getting those funds to get the next step done.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people see when somebody does a fundraiser for a film or a project, they see the word post-production and they think, well, the movie's already made. Why do you need money? So I'm glad that you elaborated on that. And
there's so much more that goes into a film. There's pre-production, which is the writing, casting, all that, finding locations. And that's a lot, and I'm good at that. I know that side. There's production, which is the actual filming of. Also, plenty of experience in that realm. Then there's post-production, which is taking that, editing it, finessing the sound, making sure you grab any bits you didn't get, color correcting, VFX if you need them, and sometimes it's captioning. It's all different elements, whatever you need for that film. And I don't love that end of it. But being as this is my film baby, I'm in it for the long haul on all of it. Often with web series and such, that's the time when you're teaming up with somebody who's better at post than I, and I am happy to hand that over. But in this case, I'm just gonna see this kiddo here all the way.
So is this the biggest project you've taken on?
Yes, especially in time commitment. It takes you longer when you have two small ones to get things done, I found out.
Well, it tends to be a little bit of a distraction.
Diminishes, should I say.
Yeah.
But it's obviously feature film is, sort of a benchmark for being able to open other doors, for one. And it is a wonderful time, at least compared to the past, to be a female director, and that there are a ton of opportunities that are available to us. A lot of those require you to have directed at least one feature film. So in doing so, I'll then be able to have other venues open if I want to apply to, some programs or some workshops that can really kind of usher you through, team you up with a mentor. There's a lot of networks that kind of take you under their wing and can get you through their directing program and potentially start going out and directing TV and otherwise, because I think that's it's amazing. It's a different side of the brain. It's a different sort of artistry, but I think it's important to get more female, bent on things, because it is a different outlook and color things a little differently, and it's important to get that dialogue going and those stuff.
So if you get the money, if you reach your goal, when do you hope, ideally, just roughly, to have the film out?
I'm aiming for the summer. I have a couple of things I'd really, really like to make. And if I get all of the funds, that is super possible. If I meet just my initial goal, it's likely, but not guaranteed yet, because I'd still have to pitch to get that last chunk from corporations or otherwise, see if I could get fiscal sponsorship, and then maybe offer tax breaks for companies to come on board to toss me that last bit. But there are a lot of avenues that open up once you're able to prove yourself and have an audience behind it. So it's a fun journey. I've been absolutely blown away by this fortune so far of my little village. Really, really touched by that. And it's actually kind of fun. I've done a number of crowdfunding experiences, and it is a job.
I would imagine.
What is it? But I planned ahead of time. I've done this rodeo before, and I'm trying to have fun with it and really, really enjoying the response and the excitement that I'm getting back from people. So
and you're doing pretty good. You had the goal of 30% this past Saturday. And you surpassed that. I think it's 42%, as we said. So you're doing good.
That's just an algorithm that a lot of crowdfunding venues build in, where to succeed, you kind of have to get past that 30% mark in the first 3 days.
Right.
Just statistically, they've seen that that's better. So I was pushing. But I find that if I have just little goals every day or so, whether it's add X number of followers or just get a certain dollar amount reached, seem to be hitting those. So I'm so thankful to anybody who's coming along for the ride, even if it's just a couple bucks you can toss me. If you see a perk on there that you love, there'll be a couple new ones coming out. If you have a particular cast member you're hoping might contribute. In the next couple days, it's Day today, which Diane Hutton, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, is a voice from, or Emma approved. She has a special perk up there today.
Okay.
And there'll be some more coming out in the next couple days. So.
Very cool. Yeah, and I would imagine doing those smaller goals makes it easier for people to kind of get involved. Because if you're like, I'm almost at this goal, can we just get here today? Then people are more likely to, I guess, probably contribute and help out than if you just have this far off goal that says I need to reach X amount of dollars by whenever.
Definitely. It's stealing the NPR model, really. But yes, I am just NPRing, like, if you're listening, we have this challenge within this hour.
Yeah, and it gets everybody kind of amped up and involved. So yeah, that's really
about
good.
Building your team.
Yeah, So you have until 25 days left. So, and let's say, okay, you're at 42% now. Let's say we'll try to get you to the halfway point.
Yeah, I'm going to see the halfway point. I do too. It feels attainable.
Yeah.
So I'm gunning. I got a couple creative things. I think once I reach 50%, if I don't have, I've got a couple feelers out on some media exclusives, but if I don't get a bite from those, I think I'm going to kind of aim for releasing the trailer if we get to 50%. So
that would be good. 50%. And like I said, I think 50% is doable in the near future.
I think
so.
4%.
Right.
Like, I think it's just under $400 or something last I checked. So it's like, it's not crazy. It's doable.
It's doable. Yeah. and if you can't donate money, be sure to share.
Oh, that helps so much. Yes.
Follow. Just get the word out. And it takes a second. I mean, it takes a second to follow. It takes a second to share. I mean, and everybody. Yeah. Okay. Everybody is on social media all the time anyway. So it's, But I think that is all of my questions. You pretty much answered everything that I had. But I do have the link for your fundraiser on underneath this video. It'll show up, and I'll keep sharing it, of course, on social media. So, but yeah, if you want to donate, it's at seedandspark.com/fund/delicate state. So. Let's try to help her reach that goal, because this is really good, and this is her first time directing a feature film. So,
and what I really loved about it was we've done a couple little test screenings with friends and family and such, and of various political bents, right? And and what I thought was really interesting, because of when we filmed it, there's been a bit of a political shift, right? Who's in power, who's not?
Yeah.
And maybe we had a certain take on what we thought we were filming at the time, but and how it might play. But having shown it to some audiences, we've noticed that regardless of where people are coming from, they kind of they tend to relate to our characters and think that we're definitely on their side, whatever that is. And so they're seeing it through our eyes and able to go along on that journey and realize pretty much what we're hoping they do, and that, like, this would be horrible. We cannot do this, guys.
Yeah.
Find a way to pull it together. So,
well, you're
sort of part of these United States, huh?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're sort of humanizing, putting a face to something that is very much political.
It's the most power that storytellers can hope for, is just to hold a mirror up and change some hearts, to change some minds, get people to realize what they do, what they say. They all have repercussions, so we should be mindful.
It affects people. Yeah, people are involved. So, well, on that note, we will say goodbye for now. But of course, you're always welcome to come back on the show. You and Charlie both, and your kids at some point. That would be fun too.
Yes, they will. We'll wait till they're a little older, because right now they are big into potty words. And it is. It's a hoot. But it is not coherent.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, tell Charlie I said hello, and it was good to see you again.
You too. Thank you so much, Paula. Have a great one.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.